Well, Taylor, I'm not sure where you're going. We've still got work to do for the next hour, but anyway, we kind of do have a surprise because, look, we've got spots, which is always very pleasant. So little Tlalamba, who's being a queen on top of the most pretty little mound as well. She's kind of draped over it. It can't be very comfortable. I think she's going to move now. You can see she's yawning. Maybe she's going to rest a little bit, but isn't she kind of cute on top of this mound? It's very pointy. I don't know why she's decided this would be the mound that she would like to sit on, but this is where she's placed herself for the morning and decided this is where she's going to look over the world. But essentially, firstly, I'm actually quite surprised at how big she's gotten since I've been last saw her. She's starting to look like a little adult leopard now, and she's really starting to take on more of a kind of adult face. That cub sort of look is starting to fade a little bit from her, and she's really starting to kind of look very, very healthy and good and big, and I'm excited to see how she goes. It's interesting to see where she's been hanging around as well. I would have expected her to be hanging around a little bit further to the north than where we are at the moment. Down here is where the skittish male does get seen, and so to me it's a surprise that she's here. I would have thought she would have tried to kind of stay up in the area around Buffelshoek Dam and then that kind of section, but maybe that adult female up there that was mating with Tingana has been giving her a bit of a hard time, and that's why she's down this side. Or it's because, well, she had a meal with Mom down this side a few weeks ago and has just ended up sticking around in the hope that Mom will come back. And she's doing what most leopards of this age do, is she sits around pretty much every day, generally on mounds. They often do like to sit on mounds, and they wait for the adults to come back in case, or adult should I say, in the form of Thandi to come back. To potentially take her to food. But that relationship is surely starting to get exhausted now. I mean, she's getting big and healthy and clearly is able to survive, because if you know, she's been not seen with Thandi for many, many days now, and yet we still managed to, well, she can see that she's perfectly healthy, so she's obviously surviving just fine. Sammy Jane, no, this is not who was at the dam cam earlier. We're very far from there at the moment. We're right down on the southern boundary, well, not on the southern boundary, but I suppose not far from the southern boundary. But I don't think it was her. I'm pretty sure that was her mom that was moving around there. And because it can't have been Shadulu. Shadulu's in the west with her cubs, apparently. Well, the western side of this reserve is absolutely thumping this morning. They've got Shadulu and cubs, Tiani and cubs, they've got Hukamuri, they've got the Nkuhumas, so lots happening on that side. But anyway, so, no, I don't think it was her. I think that was Mom that was walking around that side, and I was hoping that she might be coming down this way to come and fetch little Tlalamba, but evidently, given Tlalamba's face, which looks as though she is very tired of waiting for Mom, she hasn't arrived back this side. But I'm super glad she perched herself up on this mound, because it made seeing her a little bit easier. The road is actually quite far from here. It's probably about 50 meters, so it was a bit of a long-distance spot that we got, which was good. And just happened to look at the right time and see her sitting on the mound. But it's the perfect mound for a leopard to look very, very regal. So, Ramona, leopard territory is always dependent on density of other leopards and food availability. So some leopard territories will be very large. If you go to the leopards that are in the desert areas of Africa, their territories can be huge. Whereas the leopards, that we get here, because the density is quite high, we actually tend to see that the territories are quite small. So an average size territory in this area for a female is between sort of 3,000 and 4,000 hectares, or 6,000 to 8,000 acres, and a male territory will be anywhere between sort of 10, maybe more, 12 to sort of 18,000 hectares for the males. So they have a slightly bigger territory, obviously, and they're trying to encompass more females in their area, and females generally don't have to roam in order to find multiple different males, so they have a much smaller territory where there's den sites and water and food. And luckily here in the Sabi Sands there's a lot of water, which means there's a lot of food, and therefore territories don't have to be too big at all. Larima, what do her half backwards ear positions mean? Nothing other than that. She's just listening. She's just maybe comfortable for her to put them like that. You can see they're moving up and down all the time. They're constantly kind of flexing and twisting and turning, which is typical of any cat. So she's just constantly hearing out around her in case there's anything that moves. If this way, she's going to fall asleep and fall off this mound in the way that she's lying at the moment. But it's just to really kind of listen. It's almost like she's listening behind her. She's got her eyes that is able to see in front of her, and those almost act like eyes. When she twists them back like that, she can hear. Also, could be maybe the bit of wind that's blowing is irritating her if she holds her ears in a certain way, and so that just helps with being able to kind of sleep better. I don't know, maybe that's the reason, but it's more to listen out around her, and you'll see they'll kind of move all over. She's got a massive tick on that left ear at the moment. Girl, are you going to fall off? It reminds me of like when you're traveling around in a plane or something like that and you're watching someone dozing off. Anna-Marie, you say she's posing like a supermodel? Yes, so she's about to fall off this. I just love watching her head. Look at how her head just kind of slips. Classic. She's such a clown. She's just like her half-brother, who should come back because the two of them are highly entertaining, and it's so nice that at least in some ways she's filled a bit of a void while Hosanna's been gone. Sightings of her have been quite frequent in comparison to what they were when Hosanna was around, which is interesting. I mean, we really struggled to find Tlalamba for a few months, and now she's kind of the little superstar that we see most out of our leopards here.